Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas. And I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello, hello. This is Coach Danni D with the Profits in Pajamas podcast and also with Workflow, where I'm helping people learn how to work with ease, but also just helping people to find balance in their lives and to leave the grind culture, figure that part out. So today's topic is near and dear to my heart. And um ooh, all right. So today I want to just start by saying, sis, slow down. Slow down. The reason why I want to talk about this, I know that this is kind of the theme of my podcast overall, but the reason why I wanted to just really hone in on slowing down is because I see, I'm seeing so many people dealing with so much and, struggling to deal with things and then feeling inadequate because they can't keep up to a standard that's not realistic. We are taught to be in overdrive. We're taught to be constantly moving, constantly going, doing the next thing, overachieving, over. That's what we're taught to do. And then when the breakdown happens, which inevitably happens, when the breakdown happens and the burnout happens, then because of how we have been trained, we believe that something is wrong with us. We believe that we are, deficient because we're not doing as much. I did an episode previously on the difference between busy and productive. So, definitely go back and listen to that one. I'm just going to touch on it lightly here, but busy and productive are not the same. And before I even get into that deeper, I want to just explain to you why I do what I do, why this is so important to me, why the podcast is important to me, why the messaging is important to me, why all of it is so important. And I've shared this a little bit throughout different episodes. So, go binge watch. But I personally have experienced the crash, the burn, like the bottom out. Because we all have burnout moments and we ignore them and we keep going. It's like your check engine light in your car. You're like, it's going to keep going. And you just keep going with it and you don't look into it, or you look into it and you think it's too expensive to fix it. So you just keep driving, keep driving. And then eventually, your transmission or whatever it is just says, you know what? We done. The same thing happens to you as people. When we are going, and putting ourselves in hyperdrive and overachieving and always having to do more and more and more and more, our bodies get to a point where they say, I'm done. And our bodies give us signs and signals ahead of time. But again, just like that check engine light, we choose to ignore them, or we have disassociated those signs from, what our body is trying to say. And did a really good episode previously with Dominique Clifton where we talked about the signs of stress. That's like on my definitely my top 3 favorite episodes. So go back and listen to that. I'm sorry I keep giving you assignments to go back to, but I just want to stay focused on this point. We are not designed to go at this pace. We should not feel guilty or ashamed or embarrassed that we can't keep this pace because we were never supposed to. It was not intended for us to do that. We have to learn how to give ourselves grace and we have to learn how to transition out of that before we bottom out. And because I have bottomed out, I have experienced what that feels like, what that looks like. I don't want anybody else to have to do it the hard way. I just don't. It's hard for me to watch it when it's people that's close to me and that I care about. I just don't want to watch anybody else go through it. So that's why I do what I do because I don't want to watch anybody else go through that experience of like just completely bottoming out. But to avoid that experience, you got to start making some intentional moves and some intentional actions. And even after having experienced that, I still have to remind myself and I still have to set certain boundaries and I still have to check myself and make sure, hey, are you respecting your own boundaries that you set up to protect you from being in this space? And I know it's not easy and it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't. It does not feel natural. The reason why it doesn't feel natural is because we've been trained from birth to do it a different way. It doesn't mean it's the right way. It's just the way that we've been indoctrined to believe that we're supposed to move. The reason why I say go back and listen to, productive versus busy is what I've learned on the other side is when I was doing way more and I was, going nonstop, I was actually doing way less. I was actually doing way less. I was busy. I was moving. I was tired. I was worn out. But as far as productivity is getting desired results in an efficient manner. That's not the same as busy. So you can move all day long and not be productive. You can work all day long and not be productive. But we associate sitting still with, oh, today wasn't a productive day because I didn't, try to kill myself working. You don't have to kill yourself working to be productive. Be intentional, be focused. But you can't be focused if you're busy all the time. So um it's a vicious cycle. You can't focus if you're busy all the time. You can't big picture think. You can't make good decisions if you're busy all the time because when you're busy, you just are doing stuff to do it. You're just trying to get to the next thing. You're just trying to finish. But maybe you shouldn't even be doing that thing. Maybe that thing is not in alignment with where you're trying to go. I'm starting the next round of calendar detox in January. I mean in January, in July. In July. And I mention that only because the thing that I enjoyed the most about going through that process with the women that have gone through it already is that realization, that moment when you realize that what is on that calendar and what you actually want out of life are not the same. So why are you doing all of those other things? So I want you to take a moment this week and I want you to reflect. I want you to sit and I want you to reflect and I want you to think about what it is you want out of life. And I want you to pay attention to where your energy goes, to where your time goes, to what you are busy with. I want you to pay attention to that and I want you to see whether or not the things that really truly matter to you, the things that you say are important, are on that list. Are they a part of that booked and busy that you're living? Or is it a bunch of nonsense that you're doing because you feel obligated to do so? Because you don't want to be the bad friend, or because somebody asked you to and you didn't want to let them down. You wanted to people please, whatever the thing is that's keeping you in that state. Maybe it's that you're scared to do the thing that you really need to be doing. Maybe you are fearful of stepping out into your greatness, because that's a thing. Whatever it is, sit, reflect, think about it, and slow down. Slow down. Some quick tips for slowing down. Take 5 minutes. Because sometimes I tell people 10 and they freak out. Take 5 minutes, 5 minutes to absolutely nothing. And if five is too much, 1 minute. But do it every day. Every day, I want you to take that time that you're doing absolutely nothing. Go sit and listen to the birds chirp, or and go sit outside and have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a glass of water. Start to slow down. You operate better. You operate better. Arrested you is a better you. Arrested you is a more creative you. Arrested you is a better decision maker. Arrested you is set up for growth. Arrested you is a long living you, a healthier you. So work on that for me. Slow down, because oh Lord, I'm tired watching some of y'all sometimes. I really am. And I know somebody was tired one day watching me, but it's time to slow down. It's time to refocus. And that slow down helps you to hone in on your purpose, hone in on your why. It helps you to stop waking up year after year wondering, well, I had these ambitions and I don't know what happened. I never made it there because you were too busy to live out your dreams. So work on that for me, please. It's a favor I want to ask. Um, and I would be remiss not to mention that I am having a calendar detox challenge starting in July. And if you go into calendardetox.com, scroll down to the breakthroughs. My VIPs had some amazing, amazing breakthroughs. It's a journey. I've seen a lot of people saying recently, I'm trying, but it's so hard. It is a journey. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's not. It's a journey. I didn't wake up and just live this life. I had to make some intentional actions to get there. And I still have to retweak every now and again. But those breakthroughs, after going through that process, were huge, because I think a lot of times it's even just the point of us having awareness. We gotta reach the point of having awareness of where we are, and that we need to decidedly make change. So if you're ready, if you're ready to make that change, I'm not trying to push anybody, because I want you to be ready. I like to work with people who are ready. If you're ready to make that change, if you're ready to start the process of getting your life back on track, focused on the things that matter to you, and focused on really living life, because busy life is not lived. You're missing. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You're missing things. You're missing things because you're always worried about the next thing you got to do. So please take some time to slow down this week. slow down. When you've slowed down, then try to focus in on what you need to do next to get where you want to be. All right, guys, I will catch you next week. Thank you for listening to the Prophets in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at CoachDanniD.com.